during an ad break and broke a hip. So good luck to you, Betty.
Well done, Sam.
Oh, the other lookalikes.
Yes, it's only round 21 and we still forget them every week, don't we?
Now, here is Robert Walls. And I think that's the late Kenny Everett, isn't he?
The late Kenny Everett, yes.
He's not well, Kenny. That's Kenny Everett. This is Mal Brown. That's Barney Gumble out of The Simpsons. And here is Neil Baum, and wait for this. That's the... You don't know who that is? That's the ex-Premier of Victoria, a lovely lady, Mrs. Joan Kerner.
There you go. So it was Joan Kerner who hit Jeff Southby all those years ago. Let's move on now to the next game, and it is Geelong versus Footscray, and a danger game for the doggies here because suddenly they could be tipped out of the final 8, believe it or not. But let's have a look at the Geelong team to see if Ablett is there, and he is.
Yep,
The Greek man is back in the side. Gary Ablett and Peter Riccardi. Riccardi back from a hamstring injury as well. Going out, the other captain, they're doing musical chairs. The captain's down at Geelong at the moment. Ken Hinkley goes out with a groin injury, and Sanderson has been omitted from the team that defeated Fitzroy by 41 points after leading by 1 point at half-time. Brewer kicked 4, Tudor 3, Brownless, Minch and Brown 2 each. And the coach down there, Gary, was pretty happy. He said they steadied the ship well after the emotional Fitzroy came out and gave it their best. To the Footscray side now, one change from the team that was beaten by 31 points by Fremantle. Allen is out of that side, Allen is into that side, and Lane has been omitted. They are now 6 points in the 8, and only the percentage is pretty low. They've only got 92.5%, so they could well and truly fall out. It's not so much the percentage, but the 6 points. So if they lose the next 2, it could be bye-bye for Footscray. Griggett kicked 3 and Kellett 2. And, well, the coach out there, Alan Joyce, wasn't too happy. He said, we didn't play well today, he said. All right, boys.
Well, Doug, now you are the latest people to play Geelong. They reckon they're almost better than they were last year. Do you think that's correct?
Well, Sam, on Saturday's form, they were very good. And there was a couple of players there Billy really did impress me. He was Shane Brewer. Was very good.
He's got
Looks
something
like
special.
He's improved. Yeah, he's improved a hell from last year. Yeah. Young Tanner. What's Tanner's...
Grant.
Grant Tanner was very good. He played very well.
South Australian, and he's very good with his hands. Uses the ball very well.
And Brad Scholl.
Charlie has been a sensation. He's come from North Melbourne, played every game this year, and played very, very well.
Improved.
Now, Doug, sorry, I was going to say, Footscray.
No, you wouldn't believe it, he had not won there since 1985. It's been 10 years since Footscray won down there. So, but the good thing about Footscray at the moment is young Rowan Smith on half-back flank has been playing very good football. And, of course, Stephen Kolonyuk played very well last week. So, and, of course, Scotty West and Leon Cameron's been good on ballers for the club. So,
the last
good points there.
Last time Billy won by 88 points with Ablett kicking 9.
Yes, and we got the great man back, which is good because we did struggle a bit last week, Dougie, up forward. Whoever was up there didn't kick enough goals, and so it's good to have Gazza back.
On Ablett, he's, what, 2 weeks out with the hamstring?
He won.
He's missed 1 week with a hamstring. I mean, pretty quick to come back from a hamstring. You wouldn't want to do another one and miss another 4 weeks.
No, that's right. I'm sure he trained okay tonight, so he'll be right to go.
Boys, who's going to win? We know who you think, Billy. Doug?
I'd like to tip Footscray, but I just think Geelong are just a bit too strong at the moment.
Do they fall out?
Yeah, they possibly can now. Who they got the last game? I'm not quite sure about the last game Footscray have got. But anyway, I mean, this game would be a very tough game for them. I just think Geelong at the moment are travelling very well.
Got St Kilda the last game, the doggies, and
beat them,
Ned?
No, I think Geelong will be too good down there. Very, very good side.
Samuel?
Yeah.
Just a name will do.
Geelong.
All right. Let's go across now to the Super Box, and the captain of the victorious Victorian team in the Carnival that defeated South Australia in the grand final by 21 goals is Lisa Hardiman. Good on you, Lisa. Let's hear it. Now, Lisa, you have some pretty good footballing pedigree in your family, being a cousin of former Melbourne champion Gary Hardiman, an All-Australian player, and I think a cousin of Ricky Yola-Renshaw from Essendon.
Yeah, that's correct. Gary's a cousin of my father's, and Rick's my cousin, first cousin, yeah.
All right, fair enough. Now, how do you go playing in the AFL, or the Australian rules football? Do you got much flack off your friends for playing footy?
Most people are really interested as to why we play, and most people didn't even know we existed, so it's really great now that people are starting to recognise the fact that we play, and we play hard, and we play to win.
You say that again.
Now, Lisa, or anyone, do you play the same rules, or are they modified in any way?
Exactly the same rules, Sam.
Are they?
Yep.
And Lisa, you wear the gloves.
I do, yes.
They wear them on and off.
Now watch this goal. Watch this goal here. This is a sensation, this one. Look at this from the boundary line.
That's Pierce.
It's a magnificent goal. And you said that it's a physical game. I think the next piece of play shows just how physical it can be.
That's sort of a restaurant.
Oh!
It does get very physical, and the girls take it really seriously, as it shows on the film that you just showed. And some of the skill level really now is improved to the extent that some of the girls kick both feet, use both hands, and really play the game to win. And we did that against South Australia. It was great.
Lisa, Doug Hawkins, Lisa.
Yeah, Doug.
There's been a lot of pinching going on. These girls apply the same tactics, and of course, years back, there was a thing called the squirrel grip. Now, they can't apply. They can't apply.
Doug, we don't have a squirrel grip, but there's a nipple grip on it.
I suppose things aren't all the same, Lisa, though. You'd wear mouth guards and shin pads. Perhaps you wouldn't wear sort of obviously jock straps and things like that.
No, jock straps are out, but sports bras are in.
And Lisa, I suppose at three-quarter time, if you're not going in hard for the ball, does the coach say you're playing like a boy? We'll leave it there, I think. Lisa and the girls will be crossing back to them a bit later on. But let's hear it for the Victorian team. Well done. We'll be back with more Footy Show after this.
This new big deal's a go biff. You get 2 large pizzas, garlic bread, and a bottle of Pepsi, and all for only $17.90.
You should do an ad for that.
We are.
This is a great house, Dad.
You like it, Rob?
Yeah, I like this one.
Come and see the new Belfield this weekend. Our sales staff are on hand to discuss all aspects of your new home, including 11 new designs with spacious living areas, well-appointed kitchen and bathroom, and always attention to detail. If you're contemplating building, don't hesitate to come and see us.
This magnificent display home is open this weekend, so come and take a look.
I know I can with Gateway Mitre 10.
Substantial savings are on now just in time for Father's Day with Ryobi cordless drill kits just $125. Ryobi 5-speed drill press and vise good value $159. Ryobi circular saw only $109. And carry this bargain away, Ryobi 570 watts impact drill in carry case $139.
Yes, you can with Gateway Mitre 10.
Cut up any other carpet offers you've seen, because at Carpet Choice Annual Clearance, we've cut up to 50% off carpets and vinyls, and that's off big names like Godfrey Hirst, Minster, Victoria Carpet Company, Pegulon, Feltex, Highcraft and Quest, with room lots of carpet for as low as $99, and incredible cuts on house lots, short ends and remnants, with 6 months interest-free. Street West, Mt Gambier.
Club Keno. It's not every day you could win $500,000. It's every 5 minutes.
Saturday, 8:40. Goldie Hawn. A hit in America's seat of power.
Mr. President?
The government needed a very special assistant.
What would I be doing?
Protocol.
Protocol.
But they got more
It's a job.
than they bargained for. She turned
You said it was a barbecue.
totally outrageous.
Are you coming, dear?
Saturday at 8:40, Goldie Hawn in Protocol on Channel 8.
Our love will always be between the two of us. It doesn't matter if the skies are cloudy and gray. We're happy away from the sun. We're cozy and warm. It's just the two of us. And we'll be always traveling on.
Wow. Our next guest might have something to say about that, but before we do, Trev.
Yeah, I believe the new logo is going to be a magpie creeping up behind a lion.
leave that up to.
Let's introduce our special guest tonight, and he was probably the greatest Lion of them all too. 333 games at that stage, a VFL record, 15 night games, 44 games with East Perth in WA. He fairest for Fitzroy, played 24 times for Victoria, 6 times for Western Australia, and, well, that's a total of 424 games that he played, which would have put him one behind Michael Tuck. And in 1969, at that stage, became the oldest ever winner of the Brownlow medal. Please welcome Kevin Bulldog Murray.
Thank you.
Kevin, great to have you on board tonight. Of course, an old mate of EJ's. You must have had some great times with him.
Yes, he was a wonderful bloke. As a matter of fact, Ed, the day after he died on the Friday morning, I got all the building workers together on the site at the old Vic Brewery site in East Melbourne, and the scaffolders from Skyline, and I just told them I wore my Victorian jumper that Teddy played under in '64, and I was captain that particular year, and I just wore it, and I explained to all those people just what the man was about, what he was like, what it meant to be rub shoulders with a fella like that, and how he helped so many people in their lives. But the most important thing was that we were able to contact Footscray, and they gave us a lovely big bulldog flag, which we pinned onto the crane that's still flying high.
Now, tell us about when you played against EJ. There was one particular... there's the shot up there on top of the scaffolding.
We're actually producing some of those photos so as that we can put the money towards the bronze statue.
Fair enough, too. Now, Kevin, tell us about when you were playing with EJ. He had a unique way of stopping a fight one day against Fitzroy.
Yeah, we were playing out the Western Oval there, and I always remember this because David Darcy happened to whack one of our players, Paul O'Brien, and Paul automatically let fly with the boot and happened to put the slipper into him just as an automatic reaction. It was just an automatic reaction, and Teddy come around and gave Paul a few into Teddy, and he was getting back into me, and then all of a sudden he grabbed me by the ears and he just said, "Kiss me, killer," and give me a kiss on the cheek. So we all went on a merry way then and played footy.
I suppose you'd have mixed feelings about. Some have suggested they should change the name of the Brownlow to the EJ Whitten medal. I incidentally don't agree with that. I think they should name perhaps one end of the MCG, the scoreboard end, the EJ Whitten end or something. But I suppose you'd have mixed feelings about changing the name of an award that you actually won.
Well, if they did change it to the EJ Whitten award, I'd be 100% behind it.
Yeah. Well, just moving on from there now.
Shot that in the goal.
No, not at all. Fair enough. No, I just wanted to canvass a couple of other things with you. Of course, your old side, Kevin, in more trouble than the early settlers. Now, what do you think's happening down there? Do you agree with them sacking Bernie Quinlan with a couple of games to go?
No, I don't agree with that. I thought that they appointed him for the year. They should have seen the year out, and Bernie done a lot for Fitzroy when he was a player and won the Brownlow there, and certainly lifted the club spirits and the supporters' spirits when he was a player. So I think the club erred badly by sacking him before the end of the season. At the end of the season, yes, well and good then. But what I would like to point out to all the Fitzroy supporters is that if they do happen to merge with Collingwood, don't be disappointed. We still want to survive. I mean, they've tried hard to survive for a long time, and if it's going to be with Collingwood, it's better to be with the best.
This is almost... All right, well done. Almost ranking with the longest speech since the Brownlow medal acceptance in '69, that, Kevin. I don't think anyone's ever got within a bull's roar of that speech of yours.
No, I won't live that down, but I had some lovely memories of footy and played against some of the great players. Centre forwards, EJ Whitten, Darryl Baldock, Kenny Fraser. They were great players, and even Rex Hunt. I always remember playing against Rex Hunt, Sammy, one day down at Cardinia Park. Down at Cardinia Park this particular day, and he could talk underwater then. He'd say to you, if you happen to take a mark, Rex would say, "Don't worry about it, Bulldog, I'll get the next couple and kick a couple of goals, and then it'll be your turn."
Well, they'll be watching tonight, so Channel Rex, and of course I played against you for 10 years, Kevin. We played in a state carnival side in '69 in that magnificent city of Adelaide.
And it was a winning one too,
It
Sam.
was indeed.
Kevin, Kevin,
Doug.
I'm now at the age of 35. I've been thinking about retirement. Can you just give me a little tip about should I continue or should I get away at the age of 35?
Well, I stopped at 36 myself, Doug, at Fitzroy.
At Fitzroy?
Because I was jumping half an inch off the ground at the end of that season.
I'm jumping a quarter inch off the ground at the moment.
Went on to play for 10 more years, Kevin.
52, yeah.
How old are you now?
52.
Kevin, we saw you on the building site there.
17
You're
years.
magnificent, Nick. You're about, what, 56 now? or something?
57, yeah. 57. The work has helped me, and playing all those years certainly helped keep your fitness up. But I'd like to just congratulate the girls on winning that championship.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You can imagine Kevin and Sam and that trip in 1969 playing Victoria, the way they just smooth those girls all the time. And working beautifully, boys.
Well, just beside the girls, Kevin, are there any good players going around in the competition today, in your opinion?
Oh, some magnificent players. The chap that I admire the most is Jason Dunstall.
Do you?
Yes, he's been fantastic. I mean, we all... We all know Gary Ablett's a magnificent footballer and one of the greatest players that's ever played the game, but I just admire Dunstall. He's worked hard to get where he is, and he's a great leader too for Hawthorn.
All right, well, let's have a look at the Fitzroy side that, of course, Kevin played for 333 games. The ins and outs for Fitzroy, the team that, well, were within a point at half-time last week against Geelong, and, of course, Dougie playing his 350th game. Morton, Holmes and Boyd come into the side. Going at Barker as a foot injury, Bizzotto and Chandler have been omitted from the team, finally beaten by 41 points by Geelong. Atkins, Hawkins and Hawking were amongst the best, with Dougie picking up 25 possessions and kicking a couple of... Did you kick a few? No, he didn't get any last week. He kicked a point. I was pleased with the commitment all day. A number of our blokes were spent by the end, said Alan McConnell, the new coach. Let's quickly go to St Kilda now. The ins there, Devonport, Giorgio and Kennedy. Going out of the side, Nathan Burke, there's a big loss with a broken finger. Pekin's also injured, and Nugent has been omitted from the team. Beaten by 76 points. Low kick 6, Everett 2. Winmar, Burke and Everett were amongst the best players. They're only 8 points down at half-time, the Saners, but then Essendon went over the top of them, and the coach said too much was left to too few. Last time these two teams met, Fitzroy had their first win of the season, winning by 11 points, with Boyd, Hawkins, Guard and Bird kicking 2 goals each. Kevin, your old side. Well, just ask you a question. We won't talk about Fitzroy anymore. You played a long time with a back brace, and then you left in the middle of your career to go to East Perth. Why did you do that?
Well, what happened at the time, Ed, I was captain and coach of Fitzroy in 1963 and 64, and a chap called Ern Joseph was going to take over as president of the club, and he wanted a non-playing coach, and we just had... didn't see eye to eye, so I went on my merry way, and it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me to go to East Perth, because they were the Collingwood of Western Australia, and they're a fantastic club, and those 2 years certainly helped me in my football career. I would never won the Brownlow medal only for playing in Perth.
Thanks very much for joining us tonight on the Footy Show. Kevin Murray, one of your all-time greats. And endorsing the Collingwood-Fitzroy merger. There's one for the books. We'll be back with more after this.
On 60 Minutes, the father who paid to have his daughter murdered.
Say if you go with the Australian or anyone else and I'll kill you.
Her crime, to live the life of a normal teenager.
Probably one of the most extraordinary cases I'll certainly ever be involved in.
Now, for the first time, her compelling story.
I was chained to my bed. He just laughed at me.
Also, Charles Woolley meets the Catwalk Kids, being groomed for stardom.
Gives you a real good feeling knowing that your kid's the best.
Toyota presents 60 Minutes.
Our motor magazine, which is out now, consists of cars like this. A 94 VR Commodore Calais Series 2. Airbag, ABS, all the electrics, a beautiful sherbet green and some immaculate car. This Calais. Have a look at it in our magazine.
More prestige, there's a big choice of Hondas. This is a 90 EXI Accord. Electric windows, air-conditioned power steering, $23,490. It's only one of many prestige vehicles in the Carl and Gazard Motor Market lift-out.
Buy any carton of West End light export or draft, rip off the carton end, it's postage paid, put your name and address on the back and post it for your $10,000. Winners are drawn each week for the chance to win these tremendous prizes, culminating in 40 grand or this mighty Jeep. The ultimate prize draw. Tonight, you'll choose between 40 grand or this mighty Jeep Cherokee. Cheers and congratulations to you from West End. G'day, Coxy here with the final $100,000 West End prize draw. But first, Mick and his fiancée Debbie won 20 grand last week and you just bought the ring.
Yeah, I'd like to thank West End for the opportunity.
Fantastic, Mick. OK, two choices, $40,000 in cash or this magnificent Jeep Cherokee. What we need is a drum roll. I'll do it myself. OK, the winner of the $100,000 West End prize draw is, Mick, an envelope. We'll get one here. Here it is. Here's the winner. Let me have a look. Katie Romanowski of McGill. Katie Romanowski of McGill, you've won it. Fantastic. Congratulations, South Australia. On behalf of South Australia's leading beers, West End. Thanks, everybody. Fantastic.
I stay in shape with Danone Diet Light. It's tops in taste, and low in calories. And so light. From top to bottom. Oh, I like that. So light. Danone Diet Light.
Exchange Printers providing technology to local business for almost a century. Their reputation is built on quality brand names, prompt service backup and a better price on a first-class product. Exchange Printers, technology for the office or home.
Got a whopper of a hunger? The unbelievably legendary flame-grilled whopper is waiting for you, only at Hungry Jack's.
Got the hungries for Hungry Jack's.
All right, let's see what's in store for this week's bunch of legends. Here we are, Donvale versus St Paul's. And the unidentified player takes a pretty good grab. You'll be pretty happy with that one. Up there. All right, nice one. Next one here comes from Port v Springy, as we see the unbelievable footwork from the Port Melbourne player in question. And good. Oh, but did a nice job to scoop the ball out afterwards. He's just the engine room down there at Port. Another good one here, Julian Kersner. There he is. Mount Scopus versus Kingswood, nice suits. Here we go. Julian Kersner now with Essendon. There he is. And the last one here, this is an absolute ripper. Goodwood Saints versus Lockleys. And what's the goal umpire here? Hit the deck like an absolute sack of spuds. Have a look at this. Oh, dearie me, from point blank range. It did not move, Eddie.
Like a death scene in a spaghetti western, that one, wasn't it? All right, the winners this week, Grant Tweedy from Vermont, S. McDonald from Port Melbourne. I think that was the Port Melbourne Legends game too. Jack Cherabut from North Caulfield there with the Mount Scopus Vision. And M. Bennett, well, I'll tell you what, he's going very... Sorry? Craypot it was, yes. Craypot.
I reckon that bloke at the end there, they said, if you get a chance, we'll get on AFL Footy Legends here. He said, run straight at the goal umpire and kick it straight in his face if you get an opportunity. He never let us down,
No, did he? Beautifully. And because he did, he will receive the Footy Show T-shirt and the magnificent More Than a Game CD, which is available in all good record stores and bad ones as well, Trev.
Well, I was about to say, on that same thing, Sam, the bloke that headbutted the referee got a bum steer. I think.
All right, and the winner at the end of the year, and we're getting close to it too, receives this magnificent prize. It is the fantastic Ford Courier XL four-wheel drive crew cab with a comfortable cloth interior and loads of room. It's perfect for that Outback Explorer. Send your videos to Almost Footy Legends, and we're coming up towards the finals of a lot of the local club comps, so there's plenty to be, I'm sure there's plenty around is what I'm trying to say. Post Office Box 800 Richmond, Victoria 3121, $3 worth of stamps and your address, and we'll send them back to you. So now it is time to head north to Sydney, and welcome to the Footy Show, the man who today resigned as the coach of the Sydney Swans, but will stay on as a member of their board, the one and only super coach himself, Ronald Dale Barassi. Go, Ronald. Well, Barras, why decide 2 games out with still even a slim chance of making the finals? Why did you pick today to make the announcement?
Well, the results of this year had very, very little to do with the decision. And once it was decided that I couldn't accept an offer to go on for another 3 or 4 years, which the board wants, and I thoroughly agree with that. The club's now at a stage where the next man should be there for 3 or 4 years. I couldn't see myself doing that and didn't want to do that. So that was it, and I'm in full concurrence with everything. I mean, I think that fact is proved by the fact that I've accepted an invitation to become a board member, which is an honorary position, but I'll also be taking up a professional position with the Swans, you know, probably working out of Sydney for 1 or 2 days a week.
Ron, I have the feeling that you would have liked to have gone on for perhaps 1 year or 2 years, and they didn't want to accept this.
No, it wasn't so much that. I think I could have squeezed an extra year and would have been happy to do that, but I think we are, well, I know we are at a stage where, as I said, the next person, and this applies to all the appointments of major significance at the Swans, should be of a permanent nature. Now,
did you think
with the Swans, you can't get more permanent than, not with the Swans, but with coaching, you can't get more permanent than 3 or 4 years, and that's what the next appointment will be.
Did you think...
I reckon that's correct.
Did you think
No.
Now, Ron, I'm going to speak now. Did you think you succeeded while you were there?
There was some success, not as much as I hoped at some stages and other people hoped, but we've certainly moved a long way forward, but there is a long way to go, and it's been a tremendous team effort from a lot of people, by the way, not just Ron Barassi, not just Tony Lockett, not just Ron Joseph, a whole lot of things, not the least of which is the AFL's decision some years back, 3 years back, to be more significantly involved in the code's push forward in Queensland and New South Wales.
Now, Ron, just a bit of a surprise for a football identity at the moment. You're bringing out a book next week, and I've got the advance copy here with me as the cash register rings there. What's this book all about?
Well, I think it's about the guy who's pictured on the front and whose name's on the front. You whacker. So
on the front, Eddie.
Shouldn't do this, shouldn't do this. I learnt that from Sam Newman at Anyway, but no, it's a story of, well, story of my life, I guess, to some degree. But I thought, if Dougie Hawkins can bring out a book, so can Ron Barassi, and that's what I've done.
And co-written there with Peter McFarlane, one of Australia's foremost journos, and an old mate of yours. So does it get into it, warts and all? I mean, we see a lot of these books, but they don't really scratch the surface.
Well, it's up to you, the reader, to make out, I suppose. But I must admit that I don't agree with warts and all book, but books, I think it's a low blow, cheap shot sometimes. I've said a few things which people might think are low blows and all of that, but there are some things in my life which are private and will stay private, and you know, I don't really care what people think about that statement.
Oh, well, Ron,
I'm not here to be an open book for you or anyone else, and neither is anyone else, by the way.
All right, now, Ron, what do you I hear you saying you don't care what people think about it. What do you think about a man who's sitting alongside me here? I know you're a tactical genius, Ron. What do you think about Craig Kelly's tactics, the way he's playing at full back of late?
Well, I think
do you hope he does it against Plugger?
Terrific tactics. You asked a question, Sam. Do you want the answer or not?
Okay, Ron.
They're terrific tactics, but not these days, as in the nippy, and Ned's the nipper, let's say he's allegedly doing this sort of stuff. In the old days, you could do something about it. These days, the nippy cannot, and therefore the whole situation is unfair, and therefore it should be nipped in the bud by the umpires.
But just because they can't do anything about it, Ron, that's good tactics on his behalf, surely.
But Ron, tell me...
I don't think when something's done to a person which they don't like and you can't do anything about it because of the laws of the land, I think it's unfair.
So you're saying that I'm playing outside the laws?
Not the laws of the moment, mate, perhaps, but the situation is unfair. I mean, I wouldn't stand in the street or anywhere else but on a footy field, an AFL footy field, and be nipped, darling, and not do something about it. But in AFL football, you can't, because you'll get videoed and you'll be outed.
We'll start with,
now,
I mean, if
that's not right. How can you say that is right?
But I'm not nipping. I was standing next to Jason on Friday night, just bumping into him. And a coach, my coach, who has played and is regarded as probably the greatest player in the league, has said that I'm playing within the rules and keep doing it.
No, if you're just doing that, if you're not nipping...
All right. Now, Ron, would there be any danger, finally, when you get back to Melbourne, you could get a shading expert to try and match your moustache up with your actual hair? Any danger at all?
If you don't like it, you got to lump it, mate.
All right, well, let's have a look at the Sydney Swans lineup for this big game up in Sydney on Sunday against Fremantle. And the Swans going along nicely too. They are just 2 games and 3.5% outside the 8, and they've got a percentage of 100.4. It's all right, Sam, just talk away there, mate.
Sorry, mate. Chat amongst yourself.
46 points over Adelaide. In Adelaide last week was a tremendous result for the Swans, with Lockett kicking 6, and Lockett has now kicked 96 goals, 36, so with a bit of luck he'll kick his 100th this week against Fremantle. Let's go to the Freo side too, and they've had a big result last week. They've made some wholesale changes though. Into the side come Delaney, Norris, Watters, White, Retzloff and Hutton. Going out Gilbert and Hunter, both injured. In this corresponding match early in the year, Fremantle won easily, but and Hutton kicked 8 and Abraham 6. Last week, Bandy kicked 4 and Abraham and Allen 2, and G. Allen's got to be one of the favourites for the Brownlow. Brass, be nice to go out with 2 wins on the trot. You've got Freo this week and Collingwood in the last round. You could almost do something you'd love to do, I'm sure, and that's keep Collingwood out of the finals.
Well, that'd be fine, but we've got the Dockers to deal with first. Just before you go, does everyone realise that Tony Lockett has kicked 28 goals without a miss? Now, that is a record. A world record, probably.
I think it happened in Belgium once.
All right, Ron, we'll leave it there. Good luck with the book. Well, it hasn't got warts and all. We weren't actually asking you to divulge your personal life there, mate. We're talking about a few things in there that, just having a flick through, there's some great stories in there. That'll be in the bookshops next week. Barassi, the life behind the legend, and he has been a legend too. Let's hear it for Ron Barassi as we go to the break.
You did it, Ronnie! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Got the hungries. That flame grilled beef is filling my mind. Gotta get moving, can't waste no time.
Fresh lettuce, tomatoes, pickles and more.
Mayonnaise, ketchup, can't wait anymore. Got the hungries. It's a whopper of a burger.
I can taste it, wow.
Got a whopper of a hunger. Gotta get it now.
Got the hungries? Get a Whopper. Only a Hungry Jack.
Got the hungries for Hungry Jacks. Tank well, we make a world of difference. Tank well.
For this month at Tank World, order a 10,000 or 7,500 gallon tank and receive either a Davey XP 350p pressure pump or get big dollar discounts. That's right, order before the end of the month and save big dollars or get this great Davey pump. The time's never been better to talk to Tank World.
Tank well, we make a world of difference. Tank well.
Home Handy Hints, proudly brought to you by Banner Hardware.
You know, painting the home can actually be an enjoyable experience if you're properly prepared. For example, cleaning up is made all the easier if you follow these simple tips. For ceilings, stick the brush through a paper plate to stop drips on your head. Tie plastic bags around light fixtures. Coat woodwork with lemon oil so paint specks rub off easily. For window frames, spread damp strips of newspaper. Door handles can be covered with kitchen foil. Old pantyhose or stockings make great strainers. No congealed globs of paint if you try this method. A thin layer of terps on top of gloss paint stops skin forming. And save a little paint in a sealed jar for emergency touch-ups. Plain common sense can save time and money when you're painting. Don't forget, the quality of the finish depends on good preparation. Oh no, a bit of decent music doesn't hurt either.
Home Handy Hints, proudly brought to you by Banner Hardware.
Well, we're not greengrocers, we're the fresh food people. You can't get fresher than that. Can't get fresher than that. We're Woolworths, the fresh food people, with fresh ideas for you. We're Woolworths, the fresh food people, and you can't get fresher than that.
Australia's Woolworths, the fresh food people.
Monday.
Is he allowed to wear his cap backwards? Absolutely not.
A collection of head-turning commercials.
Get back on it.
Where size really does matter.
Who said the film has to be like the book?
World's greatest commercials, 8 o'clock Monday on 8.
Welcome back to the Footy Show. Triathlon coming up in a few moments' time. In the meantime, let's have a look at the next big game, and that is at Waverley on Saturday, Hawthorn versus North Melbourne. Hawthorn at the moment in 13th place, 7 wins, 13 losses. North Melbourne in 6th place and not going too well at the moment either, 12 and 8. Let's have a look at the ins and outs for the Hawkers, who were beaten by about 1 second last week when the siren went to thwart them right at the last minute. They lost by 3 points to Collingwood with Crawshay, Gibson, Bunn and Taylor coming into the side. And Dunstall kicked 4, Hudson 3, Hargraves 2 and Graham 2. Jarman and Graham amongst the best players, also Hudson. And, well, the big question, was it a mark? Was it just after the siren? We'll ask Craig about that in a second. In the meantime, let's quickly look at the North Melbourne lineup. Crocker, Dwyer and Stevens come in. Stevens back from suspension. Laidley is out injured with bruised back and bruised kidneys. And Schenker and Pyman have been omitted from the team that lost to Carlton by 19 points. They got a few goals at the end there to make the score look a bit more respectable. And apparently there's been speculation, Trevor, during the week that no Kerry, no North. It's a new phenomenon in football, apparently. But,
no, there's a new one. No Stevens, no North.
Oh, is that it? Right, OK. Roberts kicked 5 and Longmire 3. Boys, quickly, just some tips on this one.
North Melbourne. North Melbourne. Hawthorn.
North Melbourne.
And
Hawthorn.
Were you confident the siren had gone?
The umpires said the siren had gone, and the question was asked, would they have paid the mark? And they said we'd have to have a look at it.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on now to Melbourne versus Adelaide. Let's go to the D's, ins and outs straight away. Must win this one to stay in the 8. Tingay and White, the ins there. Going out Dyson with a hamstring. Peter Road, who has been omitted, one of the veterans down there at Melbourne. They are inside the 8 by 3.4% ahead of Collingwood. They play Adelaide this week at the MCG and then Brisbane in round 22. They were beaten by 29 points last week. Smith kicked 5, Lyon 2. Lyon was belted from pillar to the post. He's got a bad leg and he's badly big fat lip at the moment. And they trained at the MCG today and kicked out the news crews too to keep it nice and secret. The Adelaide Crows have made 2 changes. Brown and Wellman come in. Connell has a hip injury. Tasker has been omitted. The only omission from the team beaten by 46 points by Sydney at Football Park. Tony Modra back to some good form, kicking 4 goals and Jamison 3. And, well, the coach said we have played... he said we have players, rather, who cannot sustain 4 quarters of what is needed to succeed in the AFL. Boys, we'll quickly just take a tip on this one. Billy?
Melbourne must win. Melbourne with no McGuinness.
Crows have got to win.
Oh.
In Melbourne, you reckon?
Melbourne, if they can't beat the Crows to get into the finals, they don't deserve to be in the finals.
Crows, for once in your life, do the right thing, boys. Just get up and win. All right, now it's time to go across to Trevor for a big tiebreaker tonight in footy triathlon.
Yes, indeed. You may well remember a couple of weeks ago on the triathlon when we totally cocked it up and we didn't know who really won between Greg Williams and Shane Crawford, but they're back to do it again. Big hand for the boys. And I think since everyone knows the drill, so a spot, Greg, and your time is on the clock. We've got Billy the pill roller there. He's ready.
Go, Diesel.
And as soon as we get... Yeah, there we go. Let it roll, Bill. Stop and goalie. They're going to do it. First score of 3 in the back of the net. Now we go at the Sam Newman target. There it is, and straight away the Diesel pops one through. And don't know what happened there, he missed one. Something must have happened. There we go. Diesel coming in, third shot.
Go!
And there we go. The Diesel is in there. Shane Crawford is ready. Diesel, protect your goal while Shane has his readiness. Shane, not much to play for this week. Hopefully you'll let the boys have an easy run this week.
No, a bit of pride.
Bit of pride for the Hawks now. I believe we're ready to go. Shane Crawford, your time starts now. There we go. Ooh, very nice save. Try not to injure those hands there. Oh, and the Crawford. But he sticks one in the back of the net. Get a chance to catch up here on the target. And really slam that one in. There we go. Right, Shane, I think. And a bit of finessing there from Shane. Gets it close. Here we go. Stop. And last one here for a score of 5-2. Can we have confirmation? 5-2. That is the score. That is the confirmed score at this point in time. We have testing the buzzers now. First of all, Diesel. Very good, Shane. There it is. OK, everything is in readiness. Time on the clock. 30 seconds. Fast money starting now. Who is the coach of Fitzroy? Shane.
Alan McConnell.
Correct. Who beat Richmond last weekend? Shane.
Fremantle.
Incorrect. Diesel.
Brisbane.
Brisbane is correct. Who is second on the goal-kicking ladder? Shane.
Tony Lockett.
Tony Lockett is correct. In what year did Collingwood win its last premiership? Shane.
91.
Incorrect. Diesel.
They've won one for a long
I think
time.
the answer here is 1990. So hold those calls, OK? Who really won the triathlon last time? Shane.
Oh, I really did, but it's not fair.
All right, and that means our final score is 6-4. Greg Williams will proceed to... Thank you very much, Shane. Thank you very much, Diesel. And as we go to the tape voiceover, Eddie, is it true that you give Collingwood no hope at all of playing off in the finals this year?
Fantastic reward for our triathlon champion. It's a 7-day holiday in bustling Hong Kong for a once-in-a-lifetime shopping spree. Fares and accommodation are included in the package, and it's all thanks to Qantas.
The drama Australia loves. It can be brilliant. It can touch you.
Little girl's lying in hospital now.
A moment in Australian drama you'll never forget. Blue Healers, 8:35 Tuesday on 8.
One year they even gave me a tie for Father's Day. Hoo! This year I'm happy. They went to True Value Hardware. Great prices, service, and real presents.
Ryobi 7.2 volt cordless drill, $89. Yates 6 litre maxi sprayer, $29.95. And Supercraft 8 metre fluoro tape, just $8.95.
Just what I wanted. Puts my faith back in Father's Day.
True Value Hardware, where you still get service.
Grab your catalogue now.
Whatever you want in metal, there's a sporting chance. You'll get it at Tube Makers Metal Land. Whatever your budget and whatever service you're after, there's a sporting chance we'll see you at Metal Land. Because, as part of Tube Makers, every dollar you spend at Metal Land helps support the A Sporting Chance program. Thousands of dollars that Tube Makers will donate to our future athletes. So, for the kids, there's a sporting chance you'll go to Tube Makers Metal Land or a Metal Land franchise, right?
Don't think I'm one of those dills you pick up, because I'm not.
Well, I'm back, and with a little help, and thank you very much to Doug and Trev for filling in. Doug down at the Mal in Footscray, and Trev at a kids' school, 2 areas of the community, incidentally, I've been sworn off. And I'm in the Cretin Cruiser, and we're seeking opinion about how good or how bad Craig Kelly's been in recent weeks. So I'll just turn this up to turbocharge, and off we go. Always wanted to do this. I feel like a zero pilot coming in against the enemy. Got her in my sights now, and bang! As I live and breathe. Come here. What are you? You got your head up his bum, madam. What are you doing? Come here. I never thought it if I didn't see it. The Beverly Hillbillies are here. Come here. Now tell me this. What do you think of Craig Kelly's prowess on the footy field?
Very good. It's good.
You know who Craig Kelly is?
Craig Kelly, I don't.
You don't know who he is?
Yeah, no, Captain.
What are you answering questions that you don't even know what I'm asking you about?
No, you talk sometimes shifty Christian. I can't speak much English.
That's true. Now, not proper English anyhow. Now, where are you from?
My mother.
You're going down to a brothel, are you?
I have a meeting in a brothel. I'm a playwright, and I've just written a play called Skin, and it opens in a brothel on the 4th of September.
You're not a hooker, are you, madam?
I'm a hooker? Of course I'm a hooker.
Yeah. Well, just pull over and we might be able to do some business.
A hooker in every sort of way. What's wrong with the hooker?
Nothing. Exactly. What is wrong with the hooker?
I wish I was. I'd have a lot better car than this.
Well, you're sitting on a fortune. Yeah, it's going well. Thanks very much. Should have got onto it earlier. No accidents, no mishaps. It's been fantastic. Good heavens above. Gee, I spoke a fraction too soon. Anyhow, all might be lost. We might sneak down to Chinatown and see if we can sell this. Get a quid for that.
Gentlemen,
thank you very much for all this.
Excuse me, sir. They're blocking the tram.
What's that, sir?
Excuse me, they're blocking our tram. running late.
What? It's my fault that they're standing on your tram tracks, eh?
Really, it's the people.
And I've got a sore leg and I had to climb down onto there. And it's because of you.
Come on here. Get on, I'll give you a bit of a ride. Now, steady, steady. The tyres are only inflated to 140 pounds per square inch, so sit on here. Get on, you're right. You come and sit on my knee. We could drive down to Elizabeth Street and just go parking.
Oh, darling, I'm too old, I think.
Oh, in the country. No, you look sensational.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, good luck to you. I'll be back. Where will I meet you?
But, I might come into the footy show and meet you outside.
Yeah. Oh, well, try and do it round the corner. I don't want my reputation to take a dive.
You've got a wonderful reputation.
Well, I'm getting the hang of this. This is enormous fun now. I just got into the wheelies and then he just spun the thing over. Beautiful. Oh. Sorry about that. Not going to take the licence plate, are you?
I think you're going a bit too quick here, mate. It's a bit of a heavy walkway. Have you got your licence there on you or not?
I haven't, as a matter. I'm surprised there's only one of you if you're going to take my licence plate. Usually it takes two. One is good at numbers, the other's good at letters. And the breathalyzer?
Breathalyzer? I haven't got it on me, actually.
I want to put one on you.
Put one on me?
Why else would you stop someone in a chair on the middle of this footpath?
Oh, I don't. Usually people in chairs don't do wheelies around the middle of the street.
What I do advise you, I ought to go and arrest Craig Kelly for some of the things he's been doing in the football games of late.
Oh, Collingwood fan, I reckon he's been doing good stuff. Keep it up, Craig.
Sorry about your leg. And I'm from Queensland. The only football I'm interested in is rugby league, but hope your leg gets better.
Well, now, this is the end of Street Talk. We're going straight down to the Mayo Clinic. I'm going to have my cheek analysed.
Well, Sam, good to be back out in the street again, mate.
Yes, I'm being attacked by ageing gays in floral shirts from Queensland, so it is an occupational hazard, eh?
And can't you see now, every time the plod pulls somebody over to have a look at their licence plate number, they're going to be getting the Sam Newman line. Won't they be happy about that? Let's have a look at one of the big games of the round two. West Coast versus Carlton this weekend. The Blue Baggers are looking to go and win 20 games and break the record of 19. They're 18-2 at the moment. Let's quickly have a look at the ins and outs for the West Coast Eagles, though. And the Eagles are only 2 points off fourth place, so they're hoping that Collingwood will beat Richmond and that they can beat Carlton and get that home final. Coming back, some big names too. McIntosh, Downsborough, Evans, Wilson, Heady and Schofield. Out of the side, Hines with an ankle, Brennan with a hamstring. From the team that defeated Melbourne by 29 points with Garrick kicking 5, Kemp, Hines, Worsfold, Matera each kicking 2. And Mickey Modas wasn't that happy. He said we had some passengers today, which we didn't have last week. Now, the West Coast, they're after that fourth final spot there, so they'll be coming out firing. Let's go to the Carlton lineup now. And no Peter Dean again. Into the side is Allen. Oh, sorry, Peter Dean is in there. I'm sorry. Peter Dean has been named, so there's a bit of an upset. Allen, DeUlio and Hogg have also been named in the side. No outs as yet. And congratulations to the captain, Stephen Kernahan. He will captain the side for the 187th time, which equals John Nichols' record down at Princes Park or Optus Oval. Well done to Sticks. They beat North by 19 points last week. Boys, just a tip?
Just a tip. Actually, the West Coast look pretty good there with the youngsters and the old blokes, West Coast.
West Coast, very easy, and we'll win the flag in 95.
Oh, big stuff. With Heady back in, West Coast.
Yeah, the West Coast, have we got any time to say anything?
A little bit.
Geelong have won more games in a row than Carlton, didn't they?
Yes, but that was not in one season. It was over 2 seasons.
Oh, I
yes.
see. Well, that's the subtle difference. You have Bobby Davis on the phone, he'd be disputing that.
It wasn't the record isn't consecutive games, it's number of wins in the season.
It's fair dinkum unbelievable. I don't even know what they're talking about. It's unbelievable.
Trevor!
Well, yes, Ed, I've got to say I'm on the Tigers bandwagon finally, and it's part of a push that we didn't think would ever happen. It's the Keep West Coast in Melbourne push. How did that happen?
All right, well, Trev, we'll leave it there because when we come back, we'll preview the big game between Richmond and the Magpies.
A pleasant change is forecast for winter right across the home front at Radio Rentals. You're really warned to the moist, cold and frost-free conditions ahead if you rent to own a Hoover upside-down fridge or Cyclic Defrost 2-door, or something from the Kelvinator zone, including this pigeon pair. With such a wide range to choose from, the long-range outlook is just great. So look in on us for a pleasant change at Radio Rentals.
Got the hungries.
That flame grilled beef is filling my mind. Gotta get moving, can't waste no time.
Fresh lettuce, tomatoes, pickles and more.
Mayonnaise, ketchup,
Can't wait anymore. Got the hungries.
It's a whopper of a burger.
I can taste it, wow.
Got a whopper of a hunger.
Gotta get it now.
Got the hungries? Get a Whopper. Only a Hungry Jack.
Got the hungries for Hungry Jacks.
Get set for your best holiday. Jet set, let's go.
If you're 18 to 35, say yes to Bali with Jet Set's value-packed holidays at Ocean Blue Resorts. Party for 7 nights at the Ocean Blue Club in Kuta from just $1,010, including Qantas airfares. Or try the great water sports at the Ocean Blue Resort Nusa Dua for 7 nights from $1,085. Call Jet Set Travel for Bali fun and let's go.
Jet set, get set, let's go.
Welcome back to the Footy Show. Can the Magpies make it into the 8? That's the big question. And Nathan Buckley, Severio Rocker, are they in the sides? We'll find out in a second. Let's have a look at the Tigers, though. We've only won 2.5 out of their last 8 games. And are they on the slide? This is the big question. Slater and Neild back in. Tawney and Dundas have both been omitted from the Tigers side that was beaten by 77 points by Brisbane. In the heat, they've had Sunday to Saturday to recover for this game. Daffy kicked 5. Ned's got something with those feathers at the start of the show that he wants to do to the duck, I think. But Jarika and Marinda 2 each.
Thanks, Ed.
Daffy, Bullis and Jarika were amongst the best players. And the coach, John Northey, said we got thrashed out of the middle. It was a very, very, very disappointing performance. Last time they met, however, Richmond won by 12 points with Daffy and Richardson kicking 3 goals each. The good news for the Magpies is they are all there. Rocco will play. He's at full forward. Nathan Buckley is back. James also back, and Kerrison returns in his testimonial year. Hassel, Shawbull and Wild have been omitted from the team that held on by 3 points against Hawthorn after leading by 27 points at half-time, with Rocket kicking 4, Brereton 3. Graham Wright plays his 150th game this week. Well done to the run-up in the Brownlow middle. And Rocket needs 10 for his ton.
Eddie, mate, the great man's back in, so we've done these special little plaques for him. They're available from Target, and they're just walking out the door. But something that is even better, just quickly on this, Eddie. This one, buddy.
Oh, thank you very much.
Has gone off its head. I cannot get enough of them, Sam. Can you believe it?
Just revelling with some of the Collingwood players, Eddie.
All available from Target. All available from Target.
Thank you very much. I had to stand in that night, of course, for S. Newman. Boys, who's going to win this game? Collingwood, Richmond?
Collingwood are going on very nicely, and I think they might beat the Tigers.
Oh, we're from Tigerland.
Don't you realise that you might be playing for them next year?
I don't think we're playing. No, I think Richmond will win.
All very confident. The couple of those guys back in, very good players. So
I think Richmond will win, Eddie. I'm afraid to say that.
Well, there you go. Well, that just about brings us to the end of the show. Once more to our Victorian women's football team. Thank you very much for being here tonight. And before we go, Trevor, Red Nose Day?
No, Ed, I've got a new job as head bozo down at the Clown Casino. But, no, it is Red Nose Day, and all the money for SIDS, and I was at Carlton North last week, and John Elliott already had his on.
Fair enough. All right, Trev, thanks very much for all the boys. Of course, in the last week, it's been a very emotional time for everybody involved in football with the passing of the great EJ Whitten. And now the Football Show would like to pay tribute to not only a great member of Channel 9's Footy Show, but also football in general. And to EJ, obviously we're going to miss you, but to Ted Jr. and the family, this is our tribute to the great man. Good night.
again? The Vicks are back in town! All up, Don. Have your fun now. It was EJ the DJ.
Accentuate the positive, minus the negative, latch on to the affirmative, don't mess with Mr. Industry.
That's what you did. You stuck it right up them.
You're right up.
What I said was they get a bit horny before the game.
Well, you played how many games?
321.
With trial by video, how many would you have played, Ted?
21.
You should have played except you. It was almost as silly as Elizabeth Taylor saying ouch on the last wedding night. Quite sincerely, but Footscray now are knocking on the door of the 8. Max!
I'm listening.
That's it! That's what you want! You'll all find out there's nothing in this whole wide world that's more powerful than the pussy.
Rocky.
Footy Show of good cars. Saturday, the Magpies, who still have a chance of getting into the final 8. Sydney, after beating Adelaide, take on Fremantle. And at 3:30, the reigning premiers take on the league leaders at Subiaco. Can the Blues hold top spot? 3 big AFL games, Saturday and Sunday on Channel 8.